I'm looking at the car and the cyclist on my right, covering my brakes.
On Your Bike, in association with Safer Roads Humber, taking cycle safety seriously.
This time I'm exploring the delights of Grimsby and Cleethorpes. My first port of call is Grimsby, a seaport town with a strong maritime history. The demand for fish in Grimsby grew to such an extent that, at its peak in the 1950s, it laid claim to be the largest fishing port in the world. The town was previously known as Great Grimsby, to distinguish it from Little Grimsby, which was a village roughly 14 miles to the south near Louth. Now, history tells us that Grimsby was founded by Grim, a Danish fisherman, and Grimsby was settled by Danes in the 9th century AD. The name Grimsby originates from Grimsby, derived from the name Grim, the Danish Viking, and the suffix by being the Old Norse word for village. Grimsby has some landmarks of significant importance, the Grimsby Dock Tower being one of them. It's a hydraulic accumulator tower with the purpose of containing a 30,000 imperial gallons reservoir at a height of 200 metres that was used to provide hydraulic power to power the machinery of the Grimsby docks. It was completed in 1852. Just down the road from the dock tower is the Grimsby Cycle Hub. Located at the town's train station, the company's principal aim is to get as many people as possible choosing cycling as their first mode of transport. Janine Walker is the scheme's driving force. Janine, what a fantastic hub.
Thank you very much.
And the aim of the game here is to get everybody on wheels, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd like to see much more of a cycling community, keeping the traffic off the roads, keeping people healthy, physically and mentally. Yeah, cycling's just great.
Tell me about the Grimsby Cycle Hub, its background and its history. How did it come about?
Well, I was running a mobile cycle hire business where I delivered hire bikes all over Lincolnshire. I heard that the council were wanting a hub, but they didn't want to run it, and it would have been great for me to have a base for the bike hire. So I contacted them, and they agreed to provide the financial support to regenerate this fantastic building, which hadn't been used for 25 years.
What was the building before this, Janine?
It was the old parcels office for when the parcels used to come in by train.
Because of course we can see the train station behind us here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the parcels used to come in off the platform, and it gives us an entrance on the platform as well as an entrance into town.
So no parcels coming in now?
No parcels.
Lots of bikes?
Yes.
So as well as providing a cycle hub where people can ensure that their bike is safe and secure, you also provide a repair and maintenance service?
Well, we've got professional mechanics, but we keep the prices as low as possible so that everybody can keep the bikes on the road. You just bring your bike in, and we do generally get the repairs done the same day as well, so you're not without a bike for a week or two, which you can be with some other bike shops.
Yeah, because obviously cycling and having a bike, it's important to a cyclist that can probably be without a bike for less than a day.
And we also have that unique take, because we have a hire fleet of bikes.
Right.
If we do need to keep your bike for more than a day, then we give you a courtesy hire bike so you're still on the road.
Okay.
We do keep a lot of information about what's going on in the cycling world, any events that are going on, or any special offers that are going on. There are a few local groups, so we keep all their information and point people in the right direction.
Adam, I'm still at the Grimsby Cycle Hub, so I thought I'd take advantage of your expert skills as a senior mechanic here.
Yeah, before each ride, what you want to be doing is starting down on the front wheel.
Right.
Check that your quick release down here, nice and tight.
Okay.
So yours at the minute was pretty loose.
Right.
So we'll nip that up for you now. Travelling up the fork and get to the front brake. Going to give that a few pulls. Make sure both brakes are pulling the same amount.
Okay.
Up onto the headset. Usually would be down on the floor. you can pull the front brake, just give the bike a wobble front to back, just make sure everything's tight down here. Down from the stem, and follow it down to the bottom bracket and the crankset. Here we'd check, see if it's moving side to side, you give it a good wiggle, make sure nothing's loose. Same with the pedals, give them a good shake up and down, side to side. Yours feels all nice and tight at the moment.
So good to ride?
Yeah, safe to ride.
Safe to ride.
We'd come up to the seat, you check your seat belts tight, make sure it's not slipping back and forth and it's at the correct height for you to be riding. And we'd follow it down to the back end, onto the cassette where we've already said we've seen a little bit of wear and tear down there.
Because obviously posture would be important as well, wouldn't it, to make sure your posture is
having
comfortable
the bike
and stable
fit for
as you're
your
riding
position
on the bike. 5 miles away from the Grimsby Cycle Hub lies Waltham Windmill in the village of Waltham. The 6-storied tower windmill was built in 1878 by John Saunderson of Louth. It was worked by wind until 1962, then operated for a while by electric engine, which produced animal feed. In December 1966, the Waltham Windmill Preservation Society was formed and began the task of restoring the mill. Dr. Pip Carter has been a part of the society for a number of years. Dr. Carter, thank you very much indeed for inviting me to your beautiful windmill today. What's its history?
The history, this mill was one of the last to be built in the country, let alone the county. It was built in 1880. It was really, as I said, one of the last, or if not the last, one of the last tower mills, a giant, and in windmill technology, quite modern.
And this windmill here is a very grand building. Does it still produce flour?
Indeed, oh yes. We've been milling since 1982. Before then, the sales were taken off because they were in a bad state of repair, and slowly the Preservation Society restored the mill, and our first pair of sales were put on in '82, and since then we've been milling. We've been milling local wheat to produce flour.
Because I've noticed that it's not just a windmill. What's on this site? We have a cafe and a sweet shop.
Oh, we do. There are a lot of other outlets on the site. There's the railway carriage, which is a snack bar. There's also a sweet shop here, which is very popular, and numerous other outlets. We have a metal worker who produces pencils and that sort of thing. We have a model railway society which gives rides for the adults and the children. That's nice.
I'm going to go take a look inside and maybe pop upstairs if that's okay.
Please do. Yes, please do.
I'm heading off on my bike again now, back to Grimsby to meet a cycling group. The NAL Lindsay Go Ride is the young rider section of Lindsay Road Cycling Club and aims to develop cyclists from 5 to 16 years. Go Ride meets on the 2nd and 4th Saturdays of each month. David Evans is one of the club's key members, running a group encouraging the young to take to the wheel. David, thank you for inviting me to your beautiful property today to talk about NAL Lindsay Go Ride, which is a fairly new club, I believe.
That's right. It's been incorporated with British Cycling for just over a year, and we actually started the idea in March 2014.
Okay.
And what we did, the senior club, Lindsay Road Cycling Club, which is one of the longest established in the area, 45 years old now. And in the early days, they had a lot of young riders. But as with most clubs, that sort of fell off in the 90s. But partially thanks to the Olympics and Wiggins winning the Tour de France, there was an upsurge in interest. And so we wanted to see if there was any interest locally to start a junior club. So we hired the local athletics stadium for 5 Saturday mornings in March 2014, so 5 Saturdays in March. Did a little bit of promotion, and a couple of dozen riders and their grown-ups appeared. About 3 weeks into the 3rd Saturday, some of the grown-ups were saying, OK, well, what happens after the end of March? and then we knew that there was interest.
A keen interest.
Oh, absolutely, yes, yeah. And one of the great things, even at that early stage, was we had terrific support from the club members.
Great.
But also the grown-ups were saying, well, what can we do to help?
Yeah.
And it's so important to have their support, and therefore it gave us the opportunity to formulate this Go Ride Club.
And I suppose it's a good thing that you're encouraging youngsters to take to the wheel at such a young age, and hopefully they'll carry that on into their adult life.
Well, that's the hope. That's certainly the hope of the council, and it's certainly our hope as well. One of the words we hear a lot from grown-ups is confidence. How much confidence their young ones have got, not just about riding a bike, but also in their social skills, being able to communicate with people. For example, last weekend was the National Championships in Lincoln.
Right.
And some of our riders went with their grown-ups on the Sunday to watch the racing. And we've got a fantastic photograph of two of our youngsters with Olympic champion Joanna Rousel, just taking a photograph.
Right.
And that's one of the fantastic things about professional cycling, is that it's so accessible.
Yeah.
You can talk to the professionals,
and anyone can do it.
And anybody can do cycling.
Yes.
Yeah, provided they can balance on a bike.
Yes.
They can do cycling, and it doesn't after all be racing.
No.
You can just tootle along, and all stages in between.
At your own
It is
pace,
wonderful.
At your own leisure.
At your own leisure. Yeah.
Time for me to head off to the coast to Cleethorpes now, so join me in part 2, where I'll be making sure I'm on time, pulling a pint in England's smallest pub, and letting off some steam aboard a locomotive.
On Your Bike, in association with Safer Roads Humber, taking road safety seriously.